Alright, inmendham video. Yes, no shirt, because it's a response video to Raymond. Well, not to him, to the drivel he drivels and such. And so, yeah, just this is like weak philosophy. So, you're not interested, you're not interested. Just the how to, live crap. Living. But it has some philosophy in it. And so I sped it up a little because I really want to get to the sex robot part because that's sort of interesting.
Like the human immune system, it was designed to fight diseases, which is why a child grows up in an overly cleanly environment. They develop allergies.
Okay, so it was designed to fight diseases as if that's fun. So his, I guess, logic here would be, I'll raise a child in filth and see how many infectious, monstrous things I can have happen to it, and it can successfully or unsuccessfully defeat those things, which will demonstrate weakness in the immune system. I mean, the immune system isn't some magic thing. It itself is an evolving creature, and it will sometimes succeed and fail. And failure means eradication. So yes, you would take that chance with your little baby. You'd say, what the hell? Yeah. A spoonful of dirt helps the baby live longer? Yeah, probably not. Bad theory.
Because our immune system freaks out in the absence of diseases that it was evolved to constantly fight.
No, that's the problem with life. Life is constantly trying to kill you. Okay, the world, the environment. There's things out there that have big teeth just for that purpose, and we've eradicated some of that stuff. We don't have to worry about saber-toothed lions anymore, and we don't have to worry about getting sat on by a mammoth or whatever. But there's lots of little beasties, little bugs that we haven't defeated yet. We got rid of the smallpox, and we get rid of the oochie-doochie fever and the whatnot. But there's all kinds of shit still out there trying to kill us. And that's just the truth. Okay? It's not like it can kill you now or it can kill you later. And that's really the story to be told, right? It can kill you now or kill you later. And some things are better at killing you later, and some things are better at killing you now. Some things kill you better when you're young, and some things kill you better when you're old. Like chickenpox or something. But it's bad. And so the rational thought, well, I'll put that off as long as possible. Maybe till after I'm dead. Maybe I'll wait till I'm dead to get smallpox. That would sort of be my strategy. Yes, put it off.
Human social interaction. The real life shit is messy. Now, you can get on Twitter, and you can say clever things, and then you can count your retweets and your favorites. You know, you have a nice rational...
Yeah, whatever. So this is something he does anyway, right? So he's the guy who talks about his Twitter. So I don't really understand his logic in pointing out the fakeness of those kind of interactions. See, he's doing some kind of argument like real life is real, and internet life is fake, or superficial, or, less real, which is crap anyway, unless real just means what real means to Ray is, did I get to squeeze some titties? And that's an experience, and somehow that's an experience that somehow, doesn't torment him, in the sense that maybe if he actually slept with a good, decent woman, then he'd have a memory of a relationship that wasn't garbage, and then he'd actually feel the pain of maybe loss or something like that. Maybe if he had a real experience that was actually good instead of the crappy ones he manufactures out of his sloppiness, then he'd actually have the problem of saying, I'll never be able to do that again. I'll never achieve, it's like a perfectionist, and you achieve perfection for one day, and then the rest of your life, you're just sitting there saying, it's always going to be second or third or fourth. I'm never going to get that gold medal again. And that's a kind of a depressing circumstance. Like a virgin thing. You just never really can go back.
Underived metric for how accepted you are. Go on Facebook. Ooh, I'm getting...
Alright, this isn't loud enough probably. There's always something with these video producers.
Thumbs up. Yay. I can plot that on my graph. Fantastic. In real life, you never know how much somebody likes or dislikes you. Not really. You never know how much they value you. Not really. You always have.
Yeah, well, on any of those medias, you also don't know why somebody's interested you, and it's sort of going to get to that point because this guy is he's such a used car salesman. I mean, you know, in my opinion, he's just such a player, and you can just, you know, and he's talking as if there's something genuine or decent in his ambitions. His ambitions are trivial and superficial, and I got it kind of bullshit. You know, he's keeping score. I'm sure he's, you know, putting little notches in his his dick strap. Yeah, you know, same difference for these one night stand kind of things that he'll settle for, and he thinks that's an accomplishment. And so even the bigger picture of that is, this is an asshole who still can't figure out. You know, every time he goes for a snack, it's always, I'm going to put my chicken nuggets in the oven, or my, you know, he still can't even figure out the elegance, you know, to live an elegant life, a decent life, a superior life. That you have to minimize your sloppiness, the amount of poo you throw in somebody else's yard. And he still can't even get that fucking thing right. Like, first, do no harm. He can't even figure out to get that one right first. And then worry about, you know, being a millennium man, you know, being the man of the centuries.
An idea, it's always changing. It's messy. It's messy, and you don't know where it will go.
Right, and just as you stated, we're sort of designed to clean up messes. We're sort of designed to find problems in the environment and squish them and push them out of the way and, you know, mold the environment. We're kind of made to make golf courses out of reality, you know, is to pretty it up, clean it up. Make it more functional. Get the sticks and the stones in the right damn place and all that kind of shit. We're sort of made to do that, Ray. We're not made to just say, oh, it's a fucking pigsty, I'm just going to settle for that. Even though I settle for it myself, but I mean, I find it quite uncomfortable to live in chaos. And but it just takes time to clean it up, and once you made a mess, some messes are just too big to clean up in a day. And so you have to schedule time for that. It has to somehow be important. And that one's not important.
Might go nowhere, might go somewhere. Changing, evolving. And you don't have a chart or a spreadsheet to plot out every data point.
Right, and so he's making rationalizations and excuses for not accomplishing. So he's a guy who basically, you know, he lost it at the big one in his life, the spelling bee, I think. That was like the first thing that turned him into I'll settle for second place or fifth place. You know, something like that. But his psychology is just bent into I'll settle for far less than I should of myself. So he's opposing no standards, you know, personal standards in terms of accomplishment. So he'll make rationalizations and excuses for not making the rational investments in his own, say, smart, yet he's not smart in any useful or commercially valuable way. And so maybe you ought to learn how to be a programmer, or maybe you ought to take 3 years off and actually learn how to do something valuable, instead of just being somebody who can wash dishes and make YouTube videos.
But there's something to it, because it's never evolving story. It's life itself.
That's just silly jargon, right? Yeah, that's just, you can live a well-lived life, okay? I mean, Ray, if that's what you're after, right? That's sort of what you're implying, that I'm going to do this life-living thing correctly. You're kind of pointing out what's incorrect, which is don't obsess about details and don't obsess about you know, building mountains of bullshit. But you can figure out that there are mountains that aren't bullshit. And if you want to have something decent written on your tombstone besides, well, you could tell a joke, a story. You had lots of stories. Who cares? That's not living your life. That's not fulfilling any potential kind of thing. So I'm just saying, you're saying I have the potential to be something valuable to sentient life on planet Earth, to be a constructive and productive contributor, to help, you know, build the steel cables on bridges or do something productive. And you're just settling for being some guy who can't do that, who's going to just live a life as a, you know, just a cog, just a thing getting, you know, It just rotates because everything else tells it to. You're not playing life. You're letting life play you. Yeah, that's the truth of it.
And I should also point out the well-known fact that people who get on Facebook are generally more depressed than people who don't.
People who need other people are going to be people who are going to be more depressed, I suppose. Because, yes, if you rely on people, you're going to be disappointed, because most people only value you for some use purpose. Most relationships we have with other people are ones based on some sort of practical use, unfortunately. And it's hard for us to be any more genuine than that. That's part of this mess you're talking about, is the mess of selfish praying mantises somehow doing the community thing or the friend thing. And it's just not going to happen. You know, it's going to happen based on utility, unfortunately. Mostly. Sadly.
Yeah, because people don't get on Facebook. They're going out interacting with the world organically, taking risks.
Yes, well, whatever. The organic world is even dirtier than the online world in some respects. I mean, at least you have certain expectations that people can push the right buttons on their cell phone or manage to get their computer to work. So at least there's some level of competence. Yeah, you can have some expectations, at least with the online people, where regular people, clueless as fuck. You know, you could drop a list of names and they won't be able to pronounce them. They won't know who the hell they are. So, realistically, if I had to choose, if I was told you can only live in a world full of one kind of people or the other kind of people, I guess I'd say I'd rather have the online people than the real world people, the people who don't interact in this manner.
Having awkward moments and also having really nice moments and exciting moments. Having some unpredictability.
Yeah, that's right. Like the internet isn't unpredictable. Like every relationship with every human you ever have a relationship with ever, whether it's online or offline, isn't unpredictable. Of course they're unpredictable. And they also run the same course of, you run into this utility problem. You find somebody who's, hey, you get it, you get this, you get that, you get that. And then you find out, yeah, well, we agree on everything, and you know, see you in a year or two. You know, I mean, it ends the utility. You know, because your function really is to fight the bad microbes. That's really the mission.
Because we were evolved for a certain level of unpredictability in the environment and in our social interactions.
Again, another pointless kind of statement. We evolved in a world trying to kill us. And somehow you're just saying we should experience more opportunities to be killed because being killed is fun. There's nothing about our evolution that has made us like risk-taking. That's not evolution, that's culture. Okay, evolution is exactly the opposite because it's kind of logical. And it minimizes. Your real effort is to notice things that can be bad and say, is it really worth it? Do I have to go out where the tyrannosauruses are to go get an apple? Or can I eat one of these crapples? And you say, yeah, crapples. I can eat a crapple. Apple smapple. Crapple's the way to go.
Here we live in a first world country, had a totally predictable environment. And now we have...
Well, again, I don't know what first world country you're living in, but yeah, fuck that. And what would the unpredictability be like? You're saying we live over the volcano, so we can all, you know, you're never going to hear the testimony of the people in Pompeii saying, oh shit, I sure as fuck shouldn't have invested in that life. And you're not going to hear the testimony of the guys that died when they were, 19 years old in a war, and they're not going to come back and testify and say, well, that was a stupid risk. So, I mean, all the dead risk takers aren't around to give people any commentary about, it really wasn't worth it, trust me. Bungee jumping and getting your brain smashed, yeah, it was stupid as fuck. Just plain fucking stupid.
It's online where we have totally predictable social interactions. And people...
Blah, 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 whatever that means. I have no idea how interacting in the real world or interacting online is any more or less predictable. So that just sounds like stuff you just made up for the purpose of validating an argument that's silly.
We're miserable as shit. Kind of like a fish would be miserable if you took him out of water and put him on dry land.
So now he's comparing to something quite extreme. And no, I don't think there's any problems whatsoever. So his underlying argument is somehow this, living a structured, rationally progressive life is idiotic. But it's no more idiotic. It's all idiotic in the sense that, unfortunately, you just can't keep building stairs and keep stepping higher and higher. You go up the peak and then you fall off the other side of the mountain, you die. You get sick and die. You rot and die. You get disabled and die. You do something and die. So the downside, all right, and so all we're really talking about is, should you structure the way up and then try to structure your fall by just recognizing the fact that these are things that are going to happen. And yes, it's a little better if I don't go tumbling down the mountain feeling my arms getting broken and my legs getting broken and all, going through all that pain and suffering when I'm just going to end up at the bottom anyway. Why don't I just build a slide and just slide down there? And you can do the same thing going up. You can say, what's the mission here? And as I would describe it, the only logical mission you can find is to first do no harm and then try to be of use in mitigating against people making mistakes and getting into trouble. And here you are advocating for exactly the opposite. Telling the reckless that recklessness is the way to go. Telling the undirected that they can just hope themselves to be, I hope I'm going to be Bill Gates. I hope I'm going to be Michael Jordan. That ain't going to work. You're just selling bullshit. I can do it sloppy and it'll come out perfect. I can just pick up a paintbrush and start slopping paint around and now I'm all of a sudden going to be brilliant. No. It's not going to happen. Pick up the violin, I can just, I'm playing it. No, not going to happen. You stupid. You're really stupid. Your life doesn't work, Ray. I mean, this idea, see, he just keeps justifying it by saying, I'm happy. I'm happy, I'm happy, I'm happy. Well, yeah, there's some people who just do that. They laugh their whole life. They can say they're happy because they laugh. But, I'm saying, are they really satisfied? No. The very fact that you need to take risks is demonstrating that you aren't satisfied. That you're somehow still driven and you need so much, it's so important to you that you'll take risks. I mean, you're the one chasing something.
Wasn't evolved for dry land. We're not evolved for a safe, cut and dried environment where there's no risk of anything ever.
Yeah, that's the whole purpose of having intelligence, right? So you're just really missing it, okay? The whole reason we have intelligence is to recognize danger and avoid it. To see the bear traps, to see the tiger traps, see whatever kind of trap you want to call it, the snares and the pits and the spikes and the thorns, and to learn from bad experiences, learn from when you get burned. So this argument is stupid. Yes, I mean, you can't be obsessive about it, obviously, because you can't extract pain out of life, but you can minimize it. And there's two ways to do that, right? In terms of minimizing your deprivation. And one of the ways that you don't seem to talk about is the way of neutralizing your passion, your need. So your need to be this, or your need to be an accomplishment. So you've done some of that, in the sense that you're not saying, I'm not here to, just have a Lamborghini in my driveway and a picket fence and all that bullshit. So that's good. You don't fall into those traps. But you still apparently don't need anything in the sense that you've reduced that need quotient to just these basic visceral things, that are just as trivial, by nature's programming. I mean, because they're native programming, that is sex and food, we think they're somehow more legitimate when it's the same thing. Getting off is getting off, so to speak. Natural or unnatural.
It's amazing. It's amazing to me how people constantly harp on about things being risky. Like, oh my God, it's unsafe. I don't want to do that. Something bad could happen. It's your
Right, a fundamentally logical concept, and you know he's mocking it overtly. Um, and again, because the idiots who are in the wheelchair drooling on themselves, they don't get to testify too often. You know, if they did wheel those up, enough of those up to you, it might have an impact. I mean, I can say when I smoked cigarettes, I mean, it had some impact on me to see people, you know, when they show you the video of the people after they're, you know, with smoking through their hole in their neck. I can't say it didn't have any impact. I mean, obviously I wasn't going to, it's too much trouble to quit smoking, so I wasn't going to do it. But, it, you know, he did say, I know I'm being illogical. You know there was something, you know, I'm only smoking because I love cigarettes, you know, I just got to have them. There's no good reason. So I'm just saying, you're just saying, fuck using your brain. Again, be obedient to some passion, you know, imposed by a chemical with the right, you know, the chemical, control. That should win, not the sensible brain thing that's telling you, it's illogical.
like implemented marshmallows here in the first world. Like, calm the fuck down. But that's another symptom right there. We're evolved to see danger and avoid it, even when there is no danger.
Now, where did that see? You should just add that little piece in there for no good reason. We're evolved to see danger even where there's no danger. No, that's really not what we're... That's mistakes, right? We're having imperfect tools. None of our tools are perfect. You know, some of them are far from perfect. You know, really far from perfect. You know, so yeah, there's flaws in them. So yes, our radar for danger can be tuned a little too sensitive. But that's not sort of the argument you're making. You're making a broader argument, and it really is a case-by-case basis kind of thing.
So everybody's so fucking crazy. Anxiety over shit.
Well, there's lots of stuff to have anxiety over, and it's just a sensible... See, we're creatures that can see so much more than all the other animals could see. And, you know, you really think it's logical for you to think that, well, if I took a lion today and I gave him knowledge of good and evil, in the sense I gave him knowledge of the pain he's causing other organisms, you don't think that would cause him some anxiety? You don't think he'd be, I gotta think about this. You know, because he wouldn't have a culture that just made it part of the routine. So he wasn't maturated into a culture. He just now has the insight. He just knows that one thing. He knows that he feels their pain in the sense that he knows now that what he's hurting is as feeling as he is, and it will feel pain just as he feels it. Just that piece of knowledge. And you don't think that would cause the lion some angst?
I mean, I know for a fact that most stuff is not nearly as deadly as people say it is. I know that because I'm still alive. I was...
That's really not a very good test. So another illogical pile of crap. You know, the evidence from, you know, personal experience is really stupid. You know, so yes, I'd say people have an exaggerated idea of, you know, some kind of threat, like drugs or something. They'll be like, oh, the number of heroin overdoses is multiplied 10 times. Yeah, well, it was 4, and then it went up to 40, you know. So it's not exactly killing everybody. So, I mean, things are exaggerated. No doubt about it. But there are real threats, and there's a lot of them. That's the key thing, right? So each little threat might only be 1,000,000 to 1. I mean, I've made this point before to people, but if you're entered into 1,000,000 lotteries with 1,000,000 to 1 odds, your odds are 50-50 you're going to win. One of those baddies is going to get you.
Expecting to make it to age 36 because I stupidly believed that stuff was as risky as people said it was, at least to some degree.
So whatever this egoic bullshit is I'm a survivor, I'm tough, blah, 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 blah. You know, just because, you know, you haven't gotten hit with the right brick at the right location, and so you're alive to talk about it. But all the people who are dead, they're not testifying how, shit, I got killed on the first brick. You know, so it's, you know, what good is this anecdotal mush? You know, life is safe, don't worry. Look, I'm alive. I proved it. Not even close to reasonable.
It never occurred to me that my risk-taking, devil-may-care attitude would not kill me by now. You know, I live like there's no tomorrow but fun.
Right, and I did that when I was 13, okay? I mean, you know, people could dare me to do something for 5 cents, for a nickel. I would jump off a roof when I was a kid. I ate bugs, I did anything. Pay me, I'll do it. Nickel, dime, doesn't matter. And it was just a pretense anyway. I really didn't need the money. Well, I didn't have anywhere to go with money, let me put it that way, when I was a kid. But yeah, it was just that ego-y contest. Whatever, fuck you, I can do that. I can do that. I can do that. You know, it's that kind of attitude. But that's kids' attitude. That's a stupid little kid's attitude. It's not an adult's attitude.
I just won't fucking die. Because everything's a lot safer than people tend to think it is.
Right. Herpes. Safe. Safe. No problem.
Or I'm genuinely immortal. Which one seems more likely?
Yeah, those aren't the only two choices. The other choice is you've been lucky, and that's it. Yeah, you've been lucky. And now you're sitting there like an idiot selling luck. Be lucky like me! Yeah, that's going to work for other people. See, Ray? See, you're just not doing anything productive here. Telling idiots it's okay to be an idiot. Just, that's a waste of life.
All right. Sex robots. Yeah, what got me thinking down these lines is just a subset of why I myself would never get a sex robot, right? It's the predictability of it, right?
Right, sure. I'm sure they have lots of programs, you know, Teresa, Benita, lots of personality programs you could plug into the thing, you know, and you're realistically telling me that for you, like, I don't buy this argument at all, that you need to have some sort of conversation before sex, that you somehow, and that it isn't, that it's the woman's conversation that arouses you, that whole process of, oh, let me see if I can hit the right buttons on this thing. So, I mean, if they found a way to synthesize the bullshit, okay, of the one-night stand. You know, you have to press all these little buttons, say the right words, play the little charm game. So if they just put a bunch of buttons on you know, little panel somewhere, and you had to hit the right sequence of buttons, you had to answer some questions. You know, she would ask you some questions. You had to come up with the right answer. Then you'd have your little challenge, and then you would feel, then that would get you in the mood, and that's how you work. I don't buy it. I don't buy it.
What? Where's the fun of sex? Like, there's a whole thing that goes on.
Where's the fun of sex? I mean, really, you know, it's just a biological thing. Once you're, you know, full of charm, it just, get real. You know, he's talking about her pulse and heartbeats and shit. Come on. Fuck you, like you ever paid attention to that shit. You took a woman's pulse. Oh, sure you did.
Before you have sex, it's like you're talking to a girl, you're thinking, are we going to have sex? Kind of looks like we might. See how it goes.
Yeah, so for assholes, they'd have the asshole version, where, yes, you would actually have to have some jerky conversation with her and try to fool the robot into having sex with you. But for the people who are doing some sort of normal sexual response, which is, oh man, his tits. You know, I don't need a conversation. I don't need no testing. I don't need no buttons to push. Fuck that shit. I mean, that's the whole fun of it, in my opinion. That would be the whole fun of it, is not to have to do any bullshit I don't want to do. Just do exactly what I want to do. Yeah. That's the fun part, you see.
See
if I can get her in the mood. Oh, fuck that. I have to talk about shopping or something. Damn, I don't want to do that.
Look this up. See if I, I don't know. Just.
What a beautiful, oh, that outfit is so hot. You know, you have to do the little things. You gotta press the little buttons. No, thank you.
See how it turns out. An adventure.
Yeah, whatever. Again, so an adventure for what? So you can create a little dopey memory in your head of some totally imperfect relationship that she wasn't interested in coming back for more, and you weren't interested in going back for more. And that's somehow something you need. I need one of those precious, we didn't want to do it again memories. It was so fantastic we didn't do it again. I don't think so.
Sometimes just for fun. You know, I get that, like...
Yeah, I know, it's all just for fun. And so I'm just saying, I just don't buy that if, you know, the just for fun box shows up, you're not going to say, fine, great.
Probably going to have sex feeling, and I'm like, you know, I'm just going to throw out a little thing, see if I can fuck it up. Like, the kind of, like, you'll see guys giving advice on how to pick up women, and they'll be like, here are the things you should never do.
All right, so that's something right away. Like, no, I've never seen that, actually, I don't think. No, I've never bothered to go find out how to trick women. It's just never was my objective. You know, that isn't what I'm after. So again, we're not after the same thing. You know, you're just using. You're not abusing, is what you're doing.
Or do, and sometimes I'll just do those to see what happens.
Right. So he's so uninterested that he'll risk throwing it in the garbage. So that's how uninterested in is he's going in. So he's going in saying, okay, she's hot. Not really. Okay, she's just mediocre. I'm pretty sure she isn't the one. I know, oh yeah, look, she's interested in easy bake ovens, and, you know, I'm really good on, you know, and I'm like a microwave guy or something. You know, easy microwave oven. Or whatever the analogy would be, some superficial interest that's displayed on her sleeve, like Trump is cool or whatever, tattoo. You know, something that you just know, okay, this ain't the one, but I want to fuck her anyway. And so that's how disinterested he is going in, and he's, you know, just going to play. He's just going to play with somebody else's destiny.
Don't always ruin it. You know, I mean, so you can get away with doing things you're never supposed to do. You know, because that adds uncertainty. So it makes it more satisfying if you actually end up having sex when you were doing.
Right. So it's more satisfying if you can break the rules of what any kind of decent woman should have as expectations. So she's so below the average woman in terms of having any sense of I'm getting fucked with. This guy just playing me. So she's so clueless that you got away with it. And now you're proud. So that's like you just screwed a retard, and you're like, oh wow, I'm playing a great game. It's like a fighter beating up a midget. You didn't play a great game.
Things that are clearly stated as turning women off. It's fun. You're just having a robot.
Yeah, it's fun. Again, sorry. I mean, I don't want to do like some normal guy thing. Maybe I'm completely unnormal. But I don't, there's no fun at all in doing that whole, I gotta translate Martian into Venetian. So I gotta say everything completely upside down and bent crookedy. You know, who wants to do all that shit? Not for me.
Like a sex robot? Like, that's just sophisticated masturbation. I mean, I guess.
Yeah, so are your one-night stands. What do you think that is? You're just using somebody else as your hand. I mean, that's all you're doing. It's the same thing. You're just jerking off in a woman. Because you don't have any ambition in it meaning anything beyond that. You think you're going to leave her, I'll leave her with some special memory of Cool Ray. Yeah, I don't think so.
I guess that's okay or whatever. I'm not a sophisticated guy, though.
Well, I guess you're pointing that out. Yeah, you know, it's like you have some airs of some guy who's sophisticated and is kind of, you know, like you are used car salesmen usually wear a decent suit. So you're, you know, some pretenses of you know what's being something other than an ignorant turd is. But yeah, so you have the vocabulary, you just don't have the processor to use the vocabulary or to have the words actually mean anything.
Keep shit simple. Oh, and cleaning the thing out. Disgusting. Fuck. It's gross.
Oh, I don't know. I don't think it'd be that bad, actually. I mean, what's the big little Clorox douche? Done. No big deal.
Oh, no. Cleaning out a sex robot.
Oh yeah, right. Like brushing the toilet is, so much more fun.
I mean, now on this topic, I also have really sharp senses, so no matter how well you know
Yeah,
this film,
yes, so we're back to his spidey senses. Yes, you're whatever. You got mutant bendy back fingers, and you have heightened senses. So why are you talking to everybody else? Like, I mean, why bother, communicating with everybody else in some sort of advisory kind of way when you're Spider-Man? Okay, because you're not, I'm not Spider-Man. I don't got spidey senses. So whatever this crap is that you know, the scent of a woman thing, what the fuck is that? Yeah, okay, whatever. It's alright if she has one, but it's not what I'm after, frankly.
but I mean, is it going to have a heartbeat?
Right now, I have accidentally heard a heart beating now and then, but I wasn't like, oh, that's so hot. Thumpity thump, thumpity thump. I wish I could fuck your heart. Never really happened.
Is it going to have a pulse throughout its entire body?
Yeah, the only thing that mattered to me is it's got to be a little bit warm. That's, if it's cold, like it's dead. So yeah, they got to put a heater in it.
Is it going to have a variability in its blood flow distribution that can be sensed?
Oh yeah, sensed. So yeah, this lympho response thingy and all this other bullshit. Like I said, I can't relate at all, Ray. I mean, I guess that's what Spidey does when he has sex. He goes through all that nonsense. But yeah, it just doesn't happen for me. I sit on top, I look at the shit, and I say, oh, fuck the shit. I ain't doing all this Spidey sensey shit.
Bonded to, empathetically? Is it going to smell like a woman? Is it going to do that?
It can smell like anything. I don't know whether you really know this or not, but you can put any kind of smell in a bottle and just shoot it on something, and it smells like it. It's amazing. Technology and shit.
Is it going to have a unique pheromone profile like every woman does?
Well, whatever that is. So, the unique pheromone profile. Again, another thing that I just can't even imagine how I could care. Like, if a woman disguised herself as somebody else's pheromone profile, like two chicks, like they exchanged pheromone profiles. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's just such a whoa. I'll know the difference, and it'll make a difference somehow. Somehow I'll know she's got the pheromone profile of that other chick. I don't think so. I don't think it has a single thing to do with the act. I just can't figure out. So again, that's your third eye that's sniffing and looking for this shit, because I fucking don't do any of that crap.
Is it going to do that? Or is pupils going to dilate and contract in accordance with its level of arousal? Is it going to do...
Well, again, so he actually pays it. I mean, women close their eyes a lot, but I mean, I've seen a lot of closed eyes, but when you do see, I don't measure their pupil size. I mean, it never even occurred to me to do that. Just notice, hey, she has brown eyes. I didn't even notice that.
That seems doable, I guess. I mean, it won't actually be around, so it'll be some sort of heuristic algorithm. I mean, the whole thing's... Don't get me wrong, if somebody, gave me a sex robot to try out, of course I would, because I'll try anything. But I'm not going to pay good money for that.
So instead, he'll spend good money on trying to bullshit some chick he doesn't really like much, so he can fuck her and put a notch on his dick pouch thingy. Whatever, his underoos. So he can have an adventure and a memory. He'll have a story. Yes, well this is, this is another chick that I, wiped my dick on. And this is the story of me just, I used her. Fun for the night.
I mean, what is even the point? That's like a prostitute. I never saw the point of paying for a prostitute. Where's the adventure in that?
Well, the disease thing for one. But, they do, you gotta figure they gotta know shit, right? They've been around the junk a bit, and so they might know some tricks you weren't aware of, and they might, surprise you with something. But, Yeah, I mean, I just couldn't do the prostitute thing just because it's, I just don't like the insincerity. I just, I need to be special. I do.
Like, where's the story? Show me the story.
Oh, right. Like if there was disease free, if there was really no risk of disease, you're telling me you wouldn't have prostitution wouldn't be a great way for men to acquire stories? Fuck you. That's stupid.
Back to the feminist.
But I wouldn't do it. I'm just saying. I mean, I can't say I wouldn't do it. Don't get me wrong. Everybody has their lonely moments and whatnot. The old moments of desperation, and anything can happen in those moments when you're at your most tense, let's say. And so certainly, but I can't say that there's anything accomplished in living life that way. That's all I would argue. That where you're going to be after the fact isn't going to be a better place than you were before the fact. That's my argument. It's not constructive. It's kind of destructive behavior, both for you and for the woman you're exploiting.
That's the thing. I mean, pointing out feminist hypocrisy, that's sort of like pointing out a dog licking its balls, And not really interesting. It's like, yes, that's what dogs do. Although feminist hypocrisy is one of the reasons that I say that male feminists tend to either, usually be giant misogynist rapists trying to disguise the fact that that's what they are, or just absolutely weak-willed, pathetic bitches trying to get sex. Okay, I was preheating the oven this entire time. I'll be right back.
Yeah, whatever. So yeah, let's go get his chicken nuggets. So it's probably enough. I didn't watch the rest of this. Well, I'll watch it.
It's probably too hot now. My oven doesn't really work that well.
Oh, yeah.
The thing is, absolutely everyone knows why these feminists are against sex robots. Everyone knows. Yet they still make these articles with their circumlocution and their...
Yeah, these feminists, again, to throw everybody on all these sub-subjects, it's just like saying you're either a communist or you're a capitalist. And you're either a Russian, a Borschtchev communist, or a Lenin communist, or a Trump capitalist. I don't pay no taxes, and I'm a billionaire. It's not true. But go ahead, do your straw man pigeonhole bullshit. Pretend you're making an argument against a whole ideology when you're not even coming close. Yeah, some feminists see the act of any sublimation, any putting something fake in replacement of them as a threat to women, in the sense that the only role women play now is their usefulness to males. And that shouldn't have been a fact in the first place, but that's nature started that game. And we haven't figured out a good way to fix that.
Nebulous terms and blah blah blah, but everyone fucking knows. Everyone. Like, you don't even have to be paying attention to understand why they would be against it. It's objectification, it's patriarchy, blah blah blah. No. What it is.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying, you people, I wish you could get pregnant, okay? I wish you had a period, and I wish you could have the fun, okay, of being one of your sex partners. Yeah. I wish you could live that life, and then talk about how, feminism isn't a useful conversation or a necessary conversation. That the fact is that it's a kind of, certainly because of our culture's inability to rationally respond. But yeah, it is just kind of rapey and just kind of exploitation. Women are there to be exploited. They're not there to be human beings who have their own ambitions.
What you have is a bunch of thirsty-ass, weak men who have trouble getting laid by any merits of their intelligence or sense of humor or physicality, and they will just give you stuff and go along with your bullshit because they want to have sex with you, and they're fucking pathetic, and they have.
Yeah, well, whatever. No, or they have sisters they actually liked. I mean, you know, apparently you don't like your sister or have much respect for her because you have absolutely no empathy. And again, you know, as a male who really appreciates having a penis, on that score alone, I mean, I feel like I've been bestowed with such a huge advantage. You know, it's almost like the you know, people are born kind of, you know, a mess, okay? Like they're all crookedy and broken. And most of us don't sit around and go, oh yeah, I'm so grateful that, you know, I didn't have that liability. You know, we don't do it about other things also, but I'm saying, and there's something fundamentally wrong in saying you're less of a human because you're all bent and crookedy, but it's less of a life, you could argue. Less potential, at minimum, you could argue. It's rational to be, that gratitude isn't an irrational response. And I'm just saying I'll never get past my gratitude in having a penis. And here you are, you know, just saying, okay, go ahead, cut it off. I don't give a shit. You know, I find that disingenuous.
No principles. Those are the people who are really going to get the sex robots and kill feminism right there, those guys. They go along with your nonsense because they want to fuck you.
I mean, you know, an amazing way to turn the conversation around when the whole conversation about him doing exactly that. Just playing a word game, press the little funny buttons, play my little challenge game. I'll even make it a contest and I'll try to hit the wrong buttons and still win. You know. And he turns that around and says, no, that's what the other guys are doing. No, that's what you're doing, Ray. And now you just, the same old story, right? You just, it's like some, you know, some idiot meat eater like yourself talking about, well, carrots feel, or some kind of stupid thing like that. It's just a lame way to argue there, Ray. You're torturing carrots. No. Sorry, didn't happen.
You're seeing your entire power base being destroyed. Everybody understands that. Literally everyone. Even your male feminist allies. I bet those male feminist allies are like, I'm totally with you on the feminism thing, but you know what? Sex robots don't sound so bad.
Yeah, well, like I said, if, you know, sex robots is one category of subjects that you can label that have something to do with man and woman relation in some way. But in a sense, sex is just sex. So it's a separate kind of category. And, you know, I mean, I'd like, you know, I had, go ahead, let's see the feminist debate where somehow they can make a rational argument about how anyone derives their own satisfaction. And clearly, as a male, if females found it, you know, and they do, lots of them, you know, lots of them go lesbian or they find some other replacement for men. Yeah, you find that disheartening and it's uncomfortable. But why would I deny a woman the right to find something other than myself valuable to their gratification? You know, they're allowed to do that.
Like, the primary hypocrisy of feminism, the one that like really stands out glaringly to anyone, is the whole...
Well, the way you're framing it, right? Like I said, you're just turning feminism, which is this broad subject about the difficulties of how humans have maturated into our role-playing as men and women, and converting that subject into all these other sub-subjects as if there's a context that somehow makes these two subjects relevant. They're really not relevant subjects.
We are about equality, sexism is bad, and here we are going to discriminate on the basis of sex. Sexism is bad, we're going to discriminate on the basis of sex. Those two things cannot logically cope.
Yes, no, it's the only way you can correct something that's incorrect is with a correction. So that's right. So you're basically just saying you can't ever fix anything because fixing something requires you to recognize that it's broken. You know, so another, you know, just if you applied your logic here to everything else in the world, then nothing would ever be fixed. Because fixing looks like breaking. Fixing is manipulating and changing, and that's what breaking did to something in the first place. You know, it's just stupid. Now, of course, change is good when you're fixing. Change is bad when you're breaking. There, that's the simple way to separate the two kinds of things. Change isn't the thing that's the bad thing. It's what the fact that something needs to be changed is the only fact to keep focused on.
Exist in a functional mind. So if somebody goes and says that, puts forth this feminism, and somebody agrees with it, then the person who's doing the agreeing is the bitch of the person making the statement. If somebody says some stuff that is inherently logically contradictory, and then...
Yeah, well, your video is full of that. Contradictions and complete, you know, just idiotic notions of pointing your finger at somebody else when you're a bigger perpetrator of the same crime.
The person goes along with that because they want their approval, or they, in this case, they want to fuck them, then that person has submitted. The person saying the nonsense is dominant, the person accepting the nonsense is a submissive bitch. Male feminist allies. Right there.
And again, what would that have to do with anything, you know, in the sense you can say everybody's trying to play the game. So what's the loner male, whatever? I mean, obviously you can make a lot of these cheap diagrams of your little bearded club of, you know, Arkansas males who want to go their own way, you know, because women's is too tough. I mean, they can wrestle bears, but they can't figure out how to hit them buttons on none of them bitches, you know, because they're just supposed to be barefoot, pregnant, and a slave. So I mean, you can diagram. Anybody can do this silly diagramming game, you know, and I'll just put them all in that pigeonhole. So that's you know, Ray, Arkansas, you know, male who can't beat a woman honestly, has to beat her for real, you know, have them obliged to be obedient, you know, let's take away their power, you know, so I can win. Let's make them little short midgets.
When I say feminist allies, well, I mean, they're either horrible misogynist rapists trying to cover up for the fact that that's what they are, or...
Well, I should point to a few of those, okay? Because, you know, frankly, I don't think you have a piece, even as tiny a shred of evidence that there's more rapists identifying as feminists than there are rapists identifying as MGTOW. I don't think you have any hope of proving that one in court.
They're just weak, pathetic men who are willing, they have no principles, so they'll just repeat that nonsense to people what they want to hear to get what they want. Sex, approval, whatever.
There are different things. Sex and approval are very different things, actually, so I don't know what that, I don't even know why we would smash those two words together and say, same thing.
I'm saying, you know, I hate to sound harsh about that, but I mean,
it's not harsh, it's just ignorant. You know, I mean, yeah, feminists are more likely to be, male feminists, I'll bet you, are a lot more likely to be vegetarians. And I bet you they're a lot more likely to have sisters. And, you know, a mother that loved them, you know. And, you know, unlike you, right? I mean, you grew up with a father who just, you know, counted bullets. And, you know, a mother who probably wasn't even on this planet because she was married to a guy who counts bullets.
Calls him like I sees him, man. Calls him like I sees him.
Yeah, well, I'll call you like I see him. I mean, this is just shit talk, you know, because you're desperate. You got no rational argument, so you'll accuse people who are empathetic to the circumstance that women are in, which is very difficult, you know, in terms of investing in your life, in yourself, because you have less guarantees of a fair fight.
And if you think about it, these feminists who are against the sex robots, they actually have a pretty misogynistic view of women. These feminists clearly, you know, let's forget about the nonsense that they say. They clearly think that all women have to offer anyone is sex. Otherwise, they wouldn't be threatened.
Well, I'm just saying, as a structural argument, that was the condition we're moving from. And the argument isn't that we haven't made any progress and that women don't have rights. The argument is that there's still some old stereotypes, that there's still some memes that are certainly driven into people's psychology. I mean, women doing makeup videos on YouTube. How many billions of views have those videos gotten? And why is that? It's because women, I think, the only thing that means anything is their appearance. A lot of women. And it's all about, that's their self-esteem. And there's no real example, or many examples, of women doing something else, okay, that's of value. The most valuable thing a woman can do is be awfully pretty. Then she gets $12 million to be on whatever, Fox News or something. Some insane amount of money. That's the message being sent by the civilization, Ray.
And I feel like maybe that's because they themselves offer nothing. And they use their sex to gain that power. Giving thirsty bitch men to do what they want.
Yeah, well, whatever. Again, you want me to just profile you? I mean, why don't you just grow a beard, Ray? Why don't you just join your club, okay, of losers? Men who just can't charm a woman to save their life in any kind of honest way, and are going to resent the fact that they're not allowed to make babies and not have to pay for it. I mean, that's what all this is about, isn't it, mostly? Isn't this mostly about the fact that men resent, having a failed relationship and having to pay for it?
I don't think any woman who actually was a productive member of society and interpersonally not a total bitch would be threatened by a sex robot at all. They'd have no problem with sex robots. Because a woman who was...
Well, whatever. I mean, Ray, the problem people have with them is just psychological. Like I said, if all women stopped liking whatever white boys, okay, or something like that, you'd feel threatened. So, I mean, you'd feel threatened if your opportunities are going to be denied you because, yeah, all women are now demanding that the man be one of the, one of the muscle guys. If that became the norm, then you're outside the norm. And your chances get weaker and thinner.
Worthwhile and had a pleasant personality could compete with a sex robot. But you, my dear feminist, cannot.
Well, yeah, because logically it doesn't work that way for 99.99% of men. 99.99% of men aren't fucking personalities. And you know that, and I know that. And so this is an idiotic argument. I mean, why don't you just put yourself in what this is like the truthers talking about the bomb on the airplane in 9/11 or something. You're an idiot.
Sex robot. Well, maybe it doesn't have the pleasant, lovely characteristics of a real womanly personality, but it at least doesn't have your horrible, bitchy personality characteristics. So on an echelon of things that men would desire, there are lovely, wonderful women, sex robots.
Yeah, well, whatever. We don't get to see your comparison, so we'd love to see this lovely, interesting woman that you're describing, because I'd like to see one that you have some respect for. Yeah. Yeah, don't buy it.
You. Yeah, see why you'd be against them. Unfortunately, technology progresses. Looks like you're going to have to, I don't know, work on yourself a little.
Well, Ray, you just can see that you're not all that excited about sex robots, so, So what's your argument that progress is going that way when you're saying you're not interested? So I guess you're conceding the point that most men are just interested in a rather superficial relationship to satisfy the passion problem. Yeah. I mean, why people are in relationships, right? I mean, you really got to know this, right? I mean, there's a ton of relationships that are just artifactual. They've grown into each other like two cancers. And it's just too complicated to strip them apart. But they're not together for any good reason. They're only together for all these negative reasons of dependency. It's just become a horrible addiction. Nothing healthy in it at all. That's a real dilemma in this world. But yeah, I just wish you were. I wish you were a woman, and then I'd almost wish you were attractive, just so you could end up being a trophy wife that gets replaced, you know, when you're 45, and then you have to go out in the world again, you know, alone. I'd love for you to talk about how, yeah, all this bullshit conversation, in that real context. Stupid, ignorant shit. Anyway, fuck you. You're dumb.